Hi, my name is Catherine or Miss Cruz. I'm an artist and art educator. What you're going to watch right now is my explanation of what is art. So carry on your luggage and strap in because this is about to be a wild ride. Hi. So my name is Catherine. You can also call me Miss Cruz. I'm an artist and art educator, and today we're going to talk about what even is art? A question that's more interesting than you'd think. Okay, why do we learn art? If anybody has anything that they're thinking in their head, say it out loud, write it in the comments, whatever you want to do. Here's what I was thinking. We learn art because we can practice problem solving. In any kind of art project, creative project, you're going to come up with problems. It's just kind of inevitable. So you just practice, working through the kinks, figuring out how to solve that problem. So, same thing, you're learning from your mistakes, failing and learning. That's kind of the process of learning. Art connects us to others and to the past. So this is the cool thing about art is that we can learn about history, specifically individuals' history of what they were experiencing and why they're creating art to kind of, share that with the world or record that or whatever their reason is. Then in that opposite way, art can help us learn about ourselves because we're creating art, we're creating things for some reason. Why are you creating one thing over the other? Why are you drawn to one art form over another? These are all things about ourselves. And you can really do a lot of emotional digging if you want to. Helps you learn to make decisions because all art is just kind of like decision making, problem solving, that creativity, and kind of what we were talking about before. And then you learn to develop and improve your ideas. So whether you want to write a song, a book, paint a picture, you're coming up with something, some idea, and executing it. And there is that's a skill in itself that's going to help you in like a bunch of ways in life. What makes someone an artist? So let's think about in our heads for a second what makes someone an artist. Okay? So I said anyone who makes art is an artist. You do not need to make money from your art to be an artist, and you do not even need to like your own art.
Why would you say something so controversial yet so brave?
Is money an important part of art to you? Do you feel like you can be a professional artist if you're not making money? Do you feel like your art needs to be a certain skill level for you to like your own art, for you to consider yourself an artist? I personally think anyone who's creating and wants to call themselves an artist is an artist. But that's just kind of the tip of the philosophical iceberg that's ahead of us. So, why do people make art? Now, we've been making art for ever, for like as long as humanity has existed. So, it's kind of an interesting question. Why are we even doing this? Isn't this a waste of time, right? So, why do people make art? Here's what I came up with it's fun, religious or spiritual reasons. There are a whole bunch of religious slash spiritual art and art practices. Um, People want to express themselves, and making art is a way to do that and kind of tell your story. People just want to make objects more beautiful. Like you're surrounded by things every day, so some people just want beautiful things around them. I kind of mentioned this earlier, but recording part of your life. Do you want to share your stories? Do you want to share your perspective and like record your memories or something like that? That's something that art can do for you. Communicate with others, continue cultural tradition if you want to create change in the world. So some people create art projects that they can like donate to make money for a cause, to tell stories. Kind of talked about that before. If you have like a fictional story, if you have a moral, if you have a soapbox that you want to get out there, art is a way to tell your stories. Make money. You can sell your wares for money. Do something no one has done before. There are like a certain group of artists that just want to push the boundary and just see like, what they can do that's so unique and different and going to be like remembered. So that's something. And then finally, relax and reflect. When you're creating art, it can be very relaxing. You kind of get in that flow state where your mind is just kind of off. And then you can reflect on what you're going through, your life, the piece that you're creating, what went well, what went wrong. That's just a time for you and your mental health. So, what are some non examples of art? So, this is like a really interesting part to me because I'm so interested in philosophy. So, once you start to get into the question of what's an example of art and what's a non example of art, it gets really confusing. And here's why. I have receipts. So basically, there was this artist named Marcel Duchamp, who was one of those guys that I talked about earlier who just loved seeing what he could get away with and pushing the envelope. So he bought this ready-made urinal at the store and just wrote Arma on it and the year 1917, put it on its side like this, and submitted it to a artist exhibition. Now, the artist exhibition was supposed to be not juried, unjuried, which basically means there's no judges that say what can be in and what can be out, so everybody's going to be accepted. Now, problem was this was 1917, so everyone was like, ew, that's like gross and like unclassy for you to have this urinal in a space of art, so they rejected him, which caused a big kerfuffle, and that's why today when we think about what is art, this is an example of an artwork that asks that question. And, some people will say it is art and some people say it isn't art. And there are some people that say anything that's in the art gallery space, is art. So like, for example, this would be art, this fountain by Marcel Duchamp, but the toilet on the right would not be art, right? So that's just some more interesting things to think about in terms of art. If you're interested in learning more about art and you want to learn about it from a philosophical point like that, you can find endless papers that are confusing and hard to read, but pretty interesting in their thoughts about things. Anyway, what are some examples of art? Okay, so this is one of my favorite artists, Mark Rothko. This is a piece called Untitled. He didn't really title a lot of his works, or they would just be like colors or whatever. And right away, when you look at it, a lot of people will have that mentality of like, what? I could have done that. Like, how much did he sell that for? Something like that. Because I do think that this is another interesting facet of life and art, is that sometimes things really click with some people and not with other people. So this piece of art, and Mark Rothko in general, is very interesting. He gets a lot of emotional responses from his pieces. Some people will just burst into tears or, just have like a very emotional response or whatever. So it is really interesting. He was an emotional guy, very interesting artist. So this is an example of, I feel like most people would agree that this is art because it is paint on a canvas, which feels like a very obvious example of art. But then it also begs the question, is technical skill and or concept and idea behind the art, are those things important in what we consider what art is? So here's another example for you. So The Comedian by Maurizio Cattelan, I don't know if I'm saying that exactly right, was sold for $120,000 in 2019. 3 editions were sold. One was donated to the Guggenheim, and then the other 2 were bought. Basically, when you buy this piece of art, you don't get banana, you don't get tape. You just get a little like label that says it's The Comedian by the artist, and then you get a certificate of authenticity that says that it's the real deal or whatever, but you have to go out and buy the banana and supply the duct tape. So that's pretty interesting. One more fun fact about this is that David Dutana is another artist, a performance artist, and he performed a piece called Hungry Artist, where he went up to the comedian, took the banana off the wall, and actually ate it. So, this is another interesting question because this makes some people upset. Why are these people, how can you sell this for $120,000? What even is art? Is this just, a joke? Well, I think the artist kind of knows what he's doing here because it's called The Comedian. It went viral at the time. This was right before the pandemic, so people were like going out and going to museums. So when they saw it, they thought it was funny. They thought it was crazy. So they posted selfies with them and this thing that went viral because he kind of knew that that was going to take off in that way. So it is another interesting question of, does the thought behind the art piece matter? Does the technical skill matter? Are these examples of art or are they not? Lots of interesting questions and lots of subjective questions. A lot of this stuff is totally up to you because there is no right or wrong answer. Okay, so last question, what is art? I love this painting. It says, is this millennial art? And it says painting a meme. I do think that because memes or internet memes, I guess, are like a new thing in our overall like generation in society, I do think that we're going to see a lot of memes in art starting now, especially like when we reflect back on this time. But this meme is just super funny. So think about, out of everything that we've talked about today, do you have a definition of what is art? So here's what I think after thinking about this for, a while. Obviously, this is kind of like a bailout answer, but there's no answer to what art is. It's up to you. It can be everything from movies and music to cooking and writing. Some people even think cleaning, memes, or ideas can be art. Keep thinking about this question over the semester and keep an open mind. So that's just kind of like what I have. I feel like personally, if I want to talk about my own personal opinions for a second, I think that art is any decision that you make and your idea of if it is art and if you see it as an art form. So it's really up to what you think and if you're making a decision about something. Those are my two thoughts. So some last final things to consider for those of you starting to get interested in art or want to learn more about art or whatever. This is just like supposed to be like an introduction. Final things to consider. Artists are not born with natural talent and creativity. It is a learnable skill you practice like sports or an instrument. So imagine playing the violin. Obviously, you have to put in time to even learn how to hold it, how it works, let alone play it. That's exactly how art is too. So art does not have to be realistic. There are many styles and all are valuable. And then my last final thought is that there are never enough artists in the world and you are unique and only you can create your art. And that's like a Neil Gaiman quote. Only you can make your art. And I just think it's so true because everyone has their own unique perspectives and experiences and things that they can bring to the table. For some people, it's going to be a certain technical skill. For some people, it's their crazy ideas. For some people, it's like a certain style. Like you'll figure out what works for you and what you want to make and what you like. And then I have a picture of Bold and Brash by Squidward to end this final piece. And that's all. Thanks. Hi, I hope you enjoyed the video. So if you're a teacher or someone who would be interested in this as a lesson plan for some reason, you can download it on my website. And here's just a little introduction of like all the questions that are in the PowerPoint. Table 1, what is art? Table 2, what are some examples of art? Table 3, what are some non-examples of art? Table 4, why do people make art? Table 5, what makes someone an artist? Table 6, what's something you want to learn in this class? Which, we're obviously not going to answer that today. Table 7, why do we learn art? And then table 8 is just like a fun doodle table for the students. Something that I wanted to share about doodling. Doodling can improve your memory. Doodling helps you practice creativity. helps you process emotions and reduces stress. It can boost your mood, and it's fun. So I'm a fan of doodling. It's good for you.